Okay, some breaking news coming out of the East Midlands. Leicester City have sacked Steve Cooper. Now, this follows the defeat yesterday to Chelsea 2-1. Their former manager, obviously, Enzo Maresca, who was replaced by Steve Cooper in the summer, obviously has gone to Chelsea. And Chelsea are playing a lot better with Enzo Maresca in charge than what they were previously under the Todd Bowley ownership. And it seems to have stabilised the Chelsea situation. Steve Cooper, I mean, look, I don't think he's a bad manager. I think he did wonderful things with Nottingham Forest, and he helped get them stable in the Premier League. Yes, there was a lot of transfers and player turnover, but he is fondly remembered by fans in Nottingham. I just think this is a very knee-jerk reaction. Now, currently they are 16th with 10 points. They're not in the bottom three. And for a promoted side, that's not a bad place to be, is out the relegation zone and, looking upwards. However, they've only won 2 matches in 16 this season, so it hasn't been a fairy tale. There's a few draws in there. I think the 2 heavy defeats to Manchester United and the defeat to Chelsea, who are now managed by their former manager, I think that says that they're just not in the right place. The expectations, maybe they've placed really high expectations this season, higher than what they're potentially able to achieve. And they did have a lot of player turnover in their previous season in the Premier League before they were relegated. A lot of key players and a lot of experience left. Now, they did keep players like Jamie Vardy, but a lot of players left the club before they were relegated. They lost a lot of leadership and experience, and they didn't adequately replace them. Now, the squad that got relegated, a lot of them did decide to stick around, Jamie Vardy included, which I think was important. And they did have a really good bounce-back season. They weren't down in the Championship very long, only the 1 year. But there was a period towards the end of the season where they did start to wobble, and there were some creaks and cracks exposed, but they did earn automatic promotion back to the Premier League. I think potentially the targets that the board and the ownership have set are a little bit high this season. I think the first job for a promoted club is to re-establish themselves or establish themselves in the division above. Obviously, the step up from the Championship to the Premier League, there is a step up. It's not easy, but there's still a lot of players with this Leicester side who have got Premier League experience. But they're not the Leicester City side that won the FA Cup and the Premier League. A lot of that experience has gone, a lot of that leadership has gone, and they have had a fair bit of managerial turnover as well. And clubs that regularly change manager, I always have this theory that they're not generally very successful, and it leads to instability. And instability is a problem, especially when you want to attract players to the club, retain players at the club, and also achieve your goals, which is improvement season on season, compete for trophies, compete for Europe. Look upwards up the table. Now, as I say, they're currently 16th with 10 points, but it is their form that is concerning. 2 wins in 16. That is troubling. But they're not the only club that's going to sack their manager this season. We've seen some sackings within the first week of the season in August. So, to me, it's a risky move. Now, Ben Dawson, who was a first team coach, has taken over as interim. We'll see how long he stays in that interim role. Maybe it's a nice little kind of job interview, and they might have a turnaround in form. They might respond to a new voice as the head coach manager in the dugout, in the dressing room. The players may respond to that. But whoever comes in, whether Ben Dawson gets the job full time or they bring someone else in, they're going to have, I'm going to say, a good 4 to 5 weeks before the transfer window opens. It's going to be a very hectic schedule. It's going to be very, very hectic, and I think this is a very dangerous time to be changing manager at this point of the season. But they only appoint Steve Cooper in the summer when Enzo Maresca was poached by Chelsea. Steve Cooper's not a bad manager. He does have Premier League experience. He's, as I say, fondly remembered at Nottingham Forest. But it just hasn't worked this season, I think. But at the same time, I think he should have been given more time to potentially turn the club's fortunes around and maybe get another transfer window. But again, with the off-field financial issues, the club have been hit with some punishments and fines. That could have proven difficult because they've got to stay financially fair play compliant with the new spending rules. So whoever comes in is going to have a tough task as well to strengthen and adjust the squad as they see fit. And of course, it will also mean when the next manager comes in, a different playing style, which does impact how a club performs. If you're constantly changing style and tactics and philosophy, that can also be difficult. So we'll have to see what happens, but Leicester City have sacked Steve Cooper after just 16 matches in charge. So another managerial casualty this season. He won't be the last. There will be more who lose their jobs. It's just, I think, a little bit knee-jerk and a little bit unexpected that the club have parted ways with Steve Cooper. But there we go. If you are a Leicester City fan, place your thoughts on where the club are at, and was he the right appointment in the first place? Could it have been turned around? I'll be very interested to hear from Leicester fans. But from me, thank you very much for watching. Place your thoughts in the comments section below. I'll have some more content for you guys very, very soon.